Yo, what's good everyone? This is Ayo Boxing with Madiba, and here's my post-fight review for Jesus Ramos vs Erickson Lubin. And this was a frustrating fight to watch for several reasons. The first reason was because of the decision and the scorecards. I thought that the fight was close and competitive, but in favor for Ramos, winning 115 to 113. A draw wouldn't be far-fetched, but 117-111 for Lubin is crazy. I don't know what fight they were watching. But the second and main reason why this fight was frustrating is that Lubin could have won this fight legitimately. Lubin was giving Ramos a lot of trouble with his jab, speed, lateral movement, and footwork. Lubin's jab was fast and active. He was doubling and tripling up the jab, going up and downstairs with the jab, and changing the angle and the speed of his jab. It was a very good jab. This made it hard for Ramos to consistently close the distance, and with Lubin sticking and moving with the jab, this forced Ramos to consistently reset and follow Lubin rather than cutting off the ring. But the issue was Lubin was not letting his hands go enough. Despite moving well and utilizing his jab, Lubin was fighting off the back foot for the most part and was too selective in throwing his power punches, while Ramos was exerting constant forward pressure. Because of this, Lubin would eventually find himself on the ropes where Ramos would take advantage. Ramos would land a lot of body shots, and since Ramos was the bigger and stronger man, Lubin could not push him off and opted to clinch and smother rather than take chances to fight on the inside. But whenever Lubin let his hands go, he would back Ramos up and force the fight to the middle of the ring. Ramos could not fight going backwards, and since Lubin was the faster fighter with a longer arm reach and with some power, Lubin was winning in those mid-range, middle of the ring situations. Lubin's straight left, right hook to the body, and counter punches were effective, but it took Lubin 9 rounds for him to really start to let his hands go, and we saw how effective it was because the fight was primarily taking place in the middle of the ring for the last 4 rounds. But even then, he was still selective in his offensive output. If Lubin let his hands go from rounds 1 through 9, then he could have won this fight with no controversy because Ramos was only effective when he had Lubin against the ropes. But Ramos's pressure and body work from rounds 1 through 9 was more appealing to a lot of fans, and it was effective. So it's understandable why so many fans, including myself, think that Ramos won the fight. But by no means that this was a one-sided fight. The commentary for this fight and the unofficial scorecards was bad in my opinion. It sounded like they wanted Ramos to win because Ramos is a PBC guy that's younger with a bigger upside than Lubin. But you also have to put some blame on Ramos because he took his foot off the gas for the last 4 rounds. He's a still good fighter, and he's probably the most promising prospect at 154. Maybe he can get a rematch with Lubin because there's no other fight out there for either guy to take, to be honest. But if they do have a rematch, I have to favor Lubin because Lubin just looked like the better fighter in this fight. But he has to work on letting his hands go. I don't know if his losses to Charlo and Fundora have affected his mentality about letting his hands go and just fighting, but Lubin has the skill to do that. But who knows, this is boxing, anything can happen. But thank you for tuning in with Ayo Boxing with Madiba. Hit like, subscribe, and more content's coming your way.